What's up? So let's get it with Aleric Anderson. It's time to get it. Time to get it. We're talking Rams. We're talking Warriors. We're talking about Missouri football, college football, all of that. Let's get it. Hey, good afternoon on this lovely, lovely Tuesday. Tuesday, November 29th, 2022. Man, this year is almost up. Anyway, welcome to Let's Get It with Aleric Anderson. I'm so glad that you are joining us on today. Thank you for listening. If you're new to the program, thank you. If you've been listening for the last few years, thank you for sticking and staying with me as we were going through our transition period. But we are so glad to be doing what we're doing and glad that you're joining us. Listen, if you have any ideas for the show and you want to get in contact with us, please send us an email at 7music and sports, 7 SEVEN, music and AND, sports at gmail.com, 7music and sports at gmail.com, or you can hit us up on any of the socials, A. Anderson Music on Instagram. You can hit me up on Twitter. Nope, take that back. You can't hit me up on Twitter. We don't do Twitter no more. But you can always reach out on Facebook. We're going to be having a Facebook page soon, specifically for the show, as well as on Instagram. And so we're just so glad that you're joining us. We're so happy to be here. Thank you for listening. We're going to jump right into today's topics because, man, I am so excited. I don't want to gloat. I'm not one of those people who like to gloat about my teams. And when I tell you that my teams are going to do something, I'm not one of those people that remind you that I did say it. But as we jumping straight into this NBA, let me just tell you, I told you. Warriors. If you're new to the program, you may not know that my teams are the Golden State Warriors, the Los Angeles Rams. I'm a Mizzou alum, University of Missouri alum, so Missouri Tiger football, Missouri Tiger basketball. I'm a St. Louis Cardinals baseball fan also, but we don't talk a lot of baseball on this show, not yet, but we will going into the new year. But I always look at these sports as a fan of my particular team, of these particular sports. And so just wanted to, if you're new to the program, you may not know how I get down. That's my get down. And we're going to start in the NBA because I think that's what we need to start at. Because I think a lot of people were burying the Golden State Warriors early on. And I got to admit, as a Golden State Warrior fan, I was a little concerned. Okay, I was a little concerned when the season started. The starters were looking great, not so much Clay. But I knew Clay would come around, but that bench wasn't doing it. And I was like, and we started the season 3-7. And I was really, really, really concerned. But no, we're not 3-7 anymore. We're not 3-7 anymore. Golden State Warriors, as we speak, are 11-10. They have won 8 out of their last 11 games. They have been 8-3 in their last 11 games. They're now, if the season was to end today, but it's not. But if the season were to end today, they are now in the 8th spot. And a game away from Sacramento and 3.5 games away from the Phoenix Suns, who are number 1 in the Western Conference. So as I told you, they were going to come around. They have come around. They're playing well. Everything about this team looks phenomenal. We don't even have to talk about the greatness that is Steph Curry. Steph Curry is actually having his best season ever right now. Not just with the scoring, he's number 2 in scoring in the league, but he's at the top of his game in both assists and rebounding. The other night against the Minnesota Timberwolves, they went into the third quarter, finished the third quarter, and Steph had more rebounds than Karl Anthony Towns and Rudy Gobert combined. Yeah. Steph ended that game with 11 rebounds, and those two dudes together ended with 15 or 16 rebounds. Steph is just playing phenomenal. He's doing all the things that you want your star to do, and he's running the team. He's running point. He's coming out there, getting people in the right positions, getting them open. Draymond is having his best season by far. When you look at his numbers, you look at what he's doing on the floor, and then even look at his demeanor on the floor. He has been a totally different player this year. Now, some people would say because he has to be on his best behavior, he's trying to get a contract. And he did kind of send the team on a tailspin right off the bat with punching Jordan Poole in the face. But if you take that away and just look at his play, and you can't just sit that aside, but if you just look at his play, he has been completely phenomenal out there balling, doing what he does, playing defense, getting people in the right position. His scoring average is up. He's out there just looking like an all-star. He's looking like Draymond, all-star Draymond. Then you got Andrew Wiggins, who, it takes some cats to settle in, to become great. This dude ain't even 30 yet. That's what you need to know first. First overall pick by the Cleveland Cavaliers a few years back. He is now coming into his own as a basketball player. And he is out there doing things that we didn't expect from him. He's hitting the three now with regularity, which makes him so difficult to defend because you know what he does when he gets near the rim. He will demolish you. So now you got to come out there and play him. He's playing well. His defense is up. His scoring is up. His court awareness is up. He doesn't have those times where you used to look at him and go, "What are you doing out here on the floor?" He is doing great work. And then, man, I told y'all, and I'm sorry. I want to tell you, Clay, I'm sorry I almost gave up on you, but Clay is hooping now, dog. Clay is back doing Clay-ish. He's back doing Clay-ish. He's back pulling up going, oh, okay, all right, yeah. He is look like he's settling in. And don't forget that Clay, when he's playing, he's a plus defender. He may not be able to defend like he used to, but he don't have to defend like he used to because now they have Andrew Wiggins. So now that team is looking really good. Looney is settling in. He is the 5. He's settling in. He's playing his game. He's finishing around the rim. He's not having the issues he's had in the past by not finishing strong. He's dunking more. He's playing stronger defense. And that 5 is looking wonderful. And then the bench is trying to round itself into form. It's going to be interesting to see what it looks like when Wiseman comes back. But right now, Poole is still a little iffy, but he's rounding into shape. DiVincenzo, remember, he missed about 5 or 6 games at the beginning of the season. He has solidified himself as that backup point guard, coming out, making some good plays, playing great defense. He's big. People don't understand how strong he is. Plus, he's a winner. He won in college. He got a ring with Milwaukee. And now he's trying to earn a ring with the Golden State Warriors. You got Green, he's rounding into shape. They asked him to play out of position for a few games, and it showed. But he's getting back into position where he needs to be to do what he needs to do for the team, 3 and D. And then Kuminga is coming around, and you can't doubt that kid's athleticism and just the upside. And he's just 19. I think he just turned 20, maybe. His upside is so much greater than what we're seeing. And then Lamb is giving you some good stuff off the bench, man. A kid that went undrafted that they picked up on a 2-way contract who's out there balling. And so you get Wiseman back real soon. And you don't know what's going to happen. Tonight they have a big game against Dallas, a reeling Dallas Mavericks team. They've been reeling. They just picked up Kemba Walker, if I read correctly, to kind of give him a punch off the bench. But we know a couple of things about Kemba. 1, Kemba can't stay healthy. And 2, Kemba don't play no defense. So that I don't see him helping them at all. Dallas' problem is not scoring. Dallas's problem is defending. And I think tonight they're going to get some more of that Golden State Warrior magic. And, man, here we go. Here we go. Now that's specifically talking about the Golden State Warriors, man. But when we look at the NBA breakdown of the conferences, you're still in the Eastern Conference. The Boston Celtics are still rolling. Shout out to Joe Mazzulla. People didn't think he was gonna do it, man. Joe got this team coming out of the gate 17-4. It was not Ime Udoka. It was not him. It was Jason Tatum. It was Jaylen Brown. It was that team, man. It's Marcus Smart. It's those guys. Those guys have decided that they're going to get back to the finals, and I see them going back. I don't want to give a early prediction, but I think it's going to be the Celtics and the Warriors back there again, man. And I think the Celtics and the Warriors are going to be the new Lakers Warriors. Yeah, I said it. I think the Celtics and the Warriors are going to be the new Lakers Warriors. I mean, the Lakers Celtics. Because, when you look at Golden State, they have some younger players that are ascending. They have some solid veterans. And you look at the Boston Celtic team, it's lining up like back in the day. They don't have the older cats on the team, but it's lining up where that could be a rivalry every year. And we see those two teams fight it out in the playoffs. So in the finals. So the Boston Celtics are doing their thing. Milwaukee Bucks are sitting right there, right behind them, lurking. Giannis, he's got something to prove. They got their one, just like Toronto got their one, just like the Lakers got their one with LeBron. And all these cats are getting their one, but they have something to prove, man. Because you're going up against greatness. You're going to be compared to the great teams. And the great team in this era right now, the great team in the last 10 years in the NBA has no doubt, are the Golden State Warriors. So they're chasing that. You got to have multiple championships. They're chasing that. And so Milwaukee is trying to come back and get back there to the finals so Giannis can get him another one. The overachieving Cleveland Cavaliers, you say they're not overachieving. Yeah, they're still a young team, man. Even though they picked up Donovan Mitchell, they are overachieving. But they're doing well. They're 13-8. But they're 5-5 in their last 10. They're settling in. Not quite sure what the Cleveland Cavaliers are going to do, but man, right behind them are the Indiana Pacers, and I watched them last night shock the Lakers. Now, you say they ain't really shocked the Lakers. The Lakers were up 14 points going into the closing quarter of that game. They were up 14. The Lakers got everything that you want. You had LeBron out there, who I believe is going to be sitting out for a while. He was dragging that leg, but he was out there giving them some minutes. You had Westbrook out there making shots that he don't normally make, doing Westbrook things. You had Anthony Davis playing. You had Austin Reeves. Everybody was contributing. Lonnie Walker, the fourth, wasn't playing a lot. I don't understand what's going on with Darvin Ham's rotation, but it was a home game at the Crypto. The Lakers had it. They were up 14, and they lost on a buzzer beater to the Indiana Pacers last night. Listen, the Indiana Pacers, man, with Halliburton and Moranthan and Turner and Buddy Hield, man, look, let me tell you, they have a nice young team. And Chris Duarte is sitting over there on the bench, man, who's nice. They have a nice team, man. Watch them Pacers. Watch them Pacers. Turner is up for an extension. They may have to go ahead and sign him, man, and go ride with this Pacer team. Rick Carlisle, see what he can get out of this Pacer team. Go on and ride with it and see what they can do. They're 7-3 in their last 10. Like I said, they won last night, and they're sitting right at 4, a half game ahead of the Philadelphia 76ers with Embiid doing Embiid things, man. He's the front runner right now for the MVP. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-3. But you know what the issue is with the Philadelphia 76ers? What are they going to look like when James Harden returns? But right now, they're playing great basketball. Doc Rivers got them boys hooping. He's unleashed Joel Embiid. So we got to see what's going to happen with that, because you know what the deal is with Harden, man. You know what the deal is with Harden. The ball stops with him. So we got to see. The Toronto Raptors are doing Toronto Raptors things. Nick Nurse got those boys right about 11-9. They're 5-5 in the last 10, so they're playing, pretty close to 500 ball across the board. They're only a couple of games over 500 for the season. They've won two in a row. Again, another one of those young teams, man. Van Vliet is the elder statement on there, and Pascal Siakam. So we got to see Scotty Barnes. Those cats, they could make a run in the East. I think they're missing something. Man, if they would have got KD, man, it would have been over. And that still might be on the table. That trade may be on the table. If they get a KD, man, oh my God. Toronto with KD, that's crazy. The Washington Wizards, they're playing. They're the Wizards, man. They're the Wizards. Kuzma, Porzingis, Beal. They're the Wizards. They're sitting at 7 right now. A half game out of that 6th spot with Toronto. You got the Atlanta Hawks, the DeJounte Murray, Trae Young backcourt. And we got to see. They've lost 3 in a row. They just lost yesterday to the Philadelphia 76ers. I don't know, man. I don't know. Collins, I just don't know with that Atlanta Hawk team. They're sitting right now in the 8th spot, 11-10. The Brooklyn Nets are 11-11. And you know what you get with Brooklyn. You get some nights, if they can shoot and the other team can't defend, they will win. If they play against a team that defends or play against a team that's got shooters that can score like them, they're going to lose. And that's why they're 11-11. They're 6.5 games out of first place. They won their last 2, 6-4 in their last 10. But the Brooklyn Nets are exactly what they are, man. They are a 500 team that will probably make the playoffs. Because I think they'll squeak into the top 6, so they won't be in the play-in this year. But I don't think they're going to do anything because they cannot defend. They cannot defend. And then the Miami Heat, who's the enigma. You don't understand how this team is sitting 1 game below 500 with Jimmy Butler, with Bam Adebayo, with Tyler Hero, with Kyle Lowry. You don't understand why this team is sitting at 10-11. Now they've won 3 in a row and they're 6-4 of their last 10. But man, it's a struggle with the Miami Heat. But they're sitting right now. If the season ended right now, they would be in the play-in game. They would be in the play-in game, sitting at number 10. And then to round out the Eastern Conference, you got the Chicago Bulls, the New York Knicks, the Charlotte Hornets, the Orlando Magic, and the Detroit Pistons. You look at Orlando and Detroit; they're just young teams, and they're gonna play good some nights. They're gonna play bad other nights. Orlando's lost 5 in a row. They're 3-7. But remember, Orlando beat the Golden State Warriors. Charlotte beat the Golden State Warriors. Detroit beat the Golden State Warriors. I mean, they can beat good teams. It's just when you get down to it, and when those teams, and because they caught them early. But as you get into the season, these younger players just don't have what it takes yet to make to jump to being a legitimate winning franchise. The New York Knicks, it's time to blow that whole thing up. It's time to blow it up. It's time to blow it up. It's not working. Julius Randle is not working. Tom Thibodeau is not working. It's time to blow that thing up. I just feel bad for Knicks fans because it was a mirage a couple of years ago when Julius Randle, his first season there. It looked like they were turning the corner, about to become a relevant franchise, but they have not. Look for Thibodeau to be let go by the All-Star break if they keep playing where they are right now. Over in the Western Conference, man, you got the Phoenix Suns that's sitting at number 1. They've been dealing with some injuries, but they got Landry Shamet back, I believe, last night. Chris Paul is still out. Cam Johnson is still out. Devin Booker is doing what he's doing. DeAndre Ayton is doing what he's doing. Mikal Bridges is doing what he's doing. Cameron Payne is doing what they do. All of them are playing well. They still got Jay Crowder not there. They're looking to trade Jay Crowder so that they can do something different with that team. But I'm not quite sure if Phoenix has not reached their potential and have become the new Utah Jazz. I said that, I think last week, that I think the Phoenix Suns have become the new Utah Jazz, meaning they play well during the regular season. They're in the top 4 seed in the regular season. Going to the playoffs, they may win one round, but then when it's time to play for the money, they are nowhere to be found. Ooh, bars. Anyway, but the Suns, that said, the Suns have won 5 in a row. They are 7-3 in their last 10. They're 14-6, sitting at the top of the really, 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 really deep and tough Western Conference. Right behind them is the Denver Nuggets. You know what the deal is with the Denver Nuggets. You got Jokic. You got Michael Porter Jr. Can he stay healthy? You got Jamal Murray. Can he stay healthy? You got Aaron Gordon. You got some nice pieces, but can they get over the hump? Can Michael Malone get them to the NBA Finals, a place that they have never, ever been? The Denver Nuggets have never been to the NBA Finals. That when they back in the ABA days, they made it to the finals. Back in with them David Thompson, Dan Issel. I believe Dan Issel. I might make Dan Issel a little older than he is, but back I know it was David Thompson back in them Denver Nugget days in the ABA, but they've never ever made it to the NBA Finals, and so and they've had some good teams. They've had some borderline great teams. This team offensively should be doing everything they can, should be setting all kind of records offensively. When you got a guy like Jokic who is leading the team, he's the point center. He's scoring, he's dishing, he's rebounding, and you still kind of just can't really get over the hump. That's a problem. And so and they spent a lot of money on that team. It's a lot of money, especially in Michael Porter Jr. and Jamal Murray. So we're going to see what happens with the Denver Nuggets as they sit there at number 2. New Orleans Pelicans, surprising Pelicans, are sitting at number 3 in the Western Conference right now after completing 20 games played for them. They've won 7 out of their last 10. Look, Green got them boys playing well. Zion is in and out though. McCullough is doing McCullough things. Brandon Ingram is playing well. Alvarado coming off the bench, point guard, with this side of the sideline steal action that he be doing. They got some nice pieces, but we got to see what they look like when we get in the playoffs. They got you want to see if they can take that talent. And that coaching that Willie Green has, that Golden State pedigree, and see if they can get over the hump and make some noise for real in the Western Conference. They have the offensive talent, but you got to see if they can put it all together. The Memphis Grizzlies, they're running in some injuries. They're sitting at number 4 in the conference. They're 12-8 right now. Ja's playing out of his mind. Desmond Bane is out. Jaren Jackson has just been back for a week or so, coming back from injury. You got Dylan Brooks. This is an interesting time for this team. They're 5-5 right now. They've won 2 in a row, 5-5 over the last 10. They're 12-8 right now. They've won 2 in a row. It's interesting to see what's going to happen with them. Ja has to be able to hit free throws down the stretch. We've watched him do that over and over again. To be great, you got to hit those free throws down the stretch. He's got to hit those threes in games that mean something. I joke with my son all the time. You want to see Ja ball out? Watch him on one of those NBA League Pass games. You want to see him shrink? Not all the time, but you want to see him look normal? Put him on national television. And so Ja has to be able to focus and play. I know you're going to say, well, what about the playoffs? You know, in the playoffs, he's not hurt, he got hurt. But Jordan Poole pulling his leg, they would have went. Yeah, I hear what you're saying. But they were up in that series. They were up against the Golden State Warriors. So I don't want to hear anything about nothing. And last season, they were 20-6 without Ja. So, and they won a game in the playoffs against the Warriors without Ja playing. So I don't want to hear any of that. They have to make that step up. Ja has to make that step up to be a for real number 1, not during the regular season, not a John Wall, not a Bradley Beal type player. You got to step up and become one of those, not a Donovan Mitchell type player. All of those are great players, but you got to learn you got to learn how to step up. He's got to step up and carry that Memphis Grizzlies team sometimes in the playoffs. And not just in the first round, not just in the semifinals, but he got to get this team. It's time for this team to knock on the door and be playing in the NBA, in the Western Conference Finals, or playing in the NBA Finals. So you got the Clippers. Look, man, the Clippers bought a lemon when they signed Kawhi Leonard. He has a degenerative leg condition. It's his knee, ankle, whatever. He ain't playing. He's in and out of the lineup. Paul George, in and out of the lineup. They're sitting at 12-9 just because they have a talented squad with Reggie Jackson and Covington and one of the Morris twins and Zubac out there balling. And so you got a nice group of players, and you have a great Hall of Fame coach in Tyronn Lue. Yeah, I said it. He's a Hall of Fame coach. One as a player, one as a coach. He's a Hall of Fame coach. But I don't think, if they can't get Kawhi back to Toronto, Kawhi, they will just be here. They'll be a 5 to 8 seed in the Western Conference. And Ballmer is building a new building for that team. I feel bad for you, son. But yeah, so that's the issue with the Clippers. They're sitting at number 5 though. They're 6-4 in the last 10. They've won one. The last, and that they started a new winning streak of winning one. Let's see what they're doing. We're gonna look at the schedule for tonight because I think it's a lot of games. It was a lot of games last night, but they may play on tonight. Sitting in the number 6 spot are the Portland Trail Blazers. Yeah, the Fighting Dame Lillards doing their thing. Chauncey Billups got them boys looking nice, man. They're 11-9. They're 4-6 in the last 10 though. And this is what happens with the Portland Trail Blazers. Once you get past Dame, it's always iffy. And Dame has to play superhuman for them to be relevant. So we'll see. But they're sitting at 6. Nevertheless, they're sitting at 6, a half game above the number 7 Sacramento Kings. Those young boys play nice, man. Those young boys play nice, man. De'Aaron Fox, they play nice. They play nice. You got Monk coming off the bench. They play nice. The venerable one in Harrison Barnes. They play nice. Mike Brown got them boys balling. Mike Brown is my early season NBA Coach of the Year. Mike Brown is just doing his thing. And Mike Brown, another one of them outside, one of them Hall of Famers on the low. Yeah, look at his numbers, man. Look at that man. Look at that man. Mike Brown is especially overall basketball. He do a lot. But yeah, Sacramento Kings are sitting right there, man. And they've 7-3 in their last 10. Now they've lost 3 in a row, and that's going to happen with a young team because they are young. But look, they are 10-9, sitting in the number 7 spot right now in the Western Conference. So shout out to Mike Brown and all those boys over in Sacramento. I already told you about my Golden State, man. We ain't gonna keep going back down the road with them. We just letting you know that they doing what they do. They've won 3 in a row. They're 7-3 over their last 10. So it is what it is. Utah, we're sitting at number 2, and now Utah have lost 5 in a row. So now they're reverting to the mean. They've lost 5 in a row. They're 2-8 in their last 10. They're reverting to the mean, and now it's tank for Wemby. Victor. They call him Wemby. That boy gonna be nice. So that's what Danny Ainge was shooting for, and looked like he might get it. Will Hardy was doing a good job down there, but everybody knew they were overachieving, and it was just a matter of time. So they've lost 5 in a row, and that number 10. You have the dumpster fire, which are the Minnesota Timberwolves. Look, I've been watching them. I've watched their games, so I'm not a highlight dude, okay? I'm just want to let y'all know, because some cats be talking sports, but they highlight dudes. Look, I when I say I love sports, I love them, okay? Other than music, I'm on the sports thing, the sports talk thing. So when I say I watch this team play, I'm telling you what God loves. Like my mama said, I'm telling you what God loves. Listen, Minnesota Timberwolves, you think you make the trade, you get rid of Beverly and a whole bunch of other stuff, and you bring back Rudy Gobert, and you thinking Gobert at the 5, and then you got Karl Anthony Towns Anthony Edwards and D'Angelo Russell, and you thinking, oh, let's go. Let's go. This is going to be what it is. But nope, it is not going to be what it is because that group does not work together. They've lost 3 in a row. They're 5-5. They're sitting at number 10 right now in the Western Conference, 10-11. And Karl Anthony Towns is out for the next 4 to 6 weeks with a calf strain. And if you watched him against the Golden State Warriors, he went out with a non-contact injury, grabbed his knee, sat out for a minute, came back in the game, and then he played a back-to-back yesterday and got a right calf strain. The last time I heard right calf strain and this kind of thing, it was a dude named Kevin Durant. And what ended up happening was a torn Achilles. Look, that dude should not have played yesterday. And it goes to what I talk about all the time about coaches. The NBA rewards some of these coaches, man, just for being try-hard guys and getting the guys to play. But when you step up your talent base, listen to me, GMs in the NBA, if y'all might be listening to. When you step up your talent base of your team, you also have to step up the talent base of your coach. And I know the Minnesota Timberwolves in that time were getting new ownership and all that stuff, and they want to kind of solidify things and solidify things on the court. And they gave old boy an extension, but that was the bad move for the Minnesota Timberwolves. They should have went out and waited and got a Mike Brown. Instead of letting Mike Brown end up going to the Sacramento Kings, they should have got a Mike Brown, because you put a Mike Brown with that team and they are phenomenal. With that group of talent, he would have found a way, man. When you watch the Sacramento Kings play and you think about what if Mike Brown, you can see what he can do when he have talent. Golden State Warriors. He was the defensive coach for the Golden State Warriors. I watched him coach. They showed the other day, last night, him coaching one of his players on how to play defense during the game. The Minnesota Timberwolves' problem is scoring defense. They can't defend a fart. That's how bad they are. They can't even squeeze and keep a fart from coming out. And they're showing up. And I think they're going to be making a coaching decision sooner rather than later there in Minnesota, because the Timberwolves are completely underachieving. I want to see what they play like. What's going to be interesting, though, just keep an eye on this. What's going to be interesting, though, in these next 4 to 6 weeks, how they play without Karl Anthony Towns. If Minnesota turns the corner and they're playing well, and when I say play well, 6 or 7 games above 500, somewhere around there, 4 or 5 in the Western Conference going into the All-Star, going into the trade deadline, I can see Karl Anthony Towns being traded. Yeah, I can see Karl Anthony Towns being traded and going and get you something else to go with that team, and because you can get quite a bit for Karl Anthony Towns. You can send Karl Anthony Towns to New York. You could send Karl Anthony Towns just about anywhere and get some niceness back. So let's see how he recovers from this injury. Let's see how the Minnesota Timberwolves play. All that said about that coach, if you can take this team as currently constructed with no Karl Anthony Towns for 4 to 6 weeks, and you can start winning with this team, you will save your job. So if you listen to my broadcast, that's what you need to do. You need to figure out how to get this team to play well and see what happens. Let me look at this. Let me look at the Timberwolves schedule over the next few games. Let me see. All right. The Timberwolves have Memphis tomorrow, Oklahoma City, Indiana, Utah, Portland, Clippers. So the next 10, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. That takes you to Monday, December 19th. So between now and December 19th, they play Memphis, they play OKC twice, they play Indiana, they play Utah, they play Portland twice, they play the Clippers, and they play the Bulls and Dallas. They can win Oklahoma City. They can win Indiana. They can win Utah. They can win one of those Portlands. They can win the Clippers. They can win again in Oklahoma City. They could beat Chicago, or they could beat Dallas. Or they could lose all of those. So it just depends on what happens with that team. But oh boy can save his job if he can get that team to play well without Karl Anthony Towns. But he's going to be out for at least 4 to 6 weeks. And to round out the rest of the Western Conference, you got the Dallas Mavericks, who I told you was going to play my Golden State Warriors tonight, 6:30 p.m. Central Time. The OK City Thunder, the Lakers, man, last night was just a heartbreaker. It was a heartbreaker. They had the game won. They were up 14, and what happened? They lost. So Lakers are sitting at 7-12. They're 5-5 in their last 10 games. They're gonna have to do something about that team. And then you got the San Antonio Spurs at 6-15, and the Houston Rockets at 5-15. They just happy to be in the league. So that's NBA talk, baby. Like I told you at the top of the broadcast, just wanted to remind you that my Golden State Warriors are back. Hey, quickly, let's go to the NFL because it's been some major injury news. We don't even need to waste time talking about the Rams. The Rams are done for the season. More injury news after just the embarrassing loss on Sunday. They now have announced that Aaron Donald has a high ankle sprain. And so, man, look here. You have no Stafford, no Cup, no offensive line, none of them cats, none. It's it happens sometimes, especially when you have older players. It happens sometimes that you hit these injury spots, and you can't do anything about it. You can't do anything about it. But you know what they can do, and we're going to talk about this next week, man, because I want to spend a little time on it. The season's over, okay? Now we got to look towards next season. What can the Rams do? What moves can they make? What draft picks do they have? What do they need to feel? Who's on the table? Who's off the table? Whose job is secure? Whose job isn't? Do they need to draft a quarterback? Should they punt on Cam Akers and on Van Jefferson? You got a whole bunch of that stuff. Stafford is under contract. Aaron Donald is under contract. Jalen Ramsey is under contract. Cooper Kupp is under contract. That entire offensive line is under contract. You got Kyron Williams out of Notre Dame, also from St. Louis, Missouri, who looked good playing. He had a lot of snaps because they released Darrell Henderson last week. So the Rams have some decisions to make as it relates to personnel. Also, let me send out some love to Coach McVay. Man, and I'm surprised. If you weren't watching that game, one of the special teams player, I think he's a backup tight end, grabbed his helmet and was being Johnny Hustle and ran on the field and cold cocked Coach McVay. I thought he broke his jaw. And that is emblematic of this season for the Rams. But the Rams have had a lot of success. And so with success in the NFL, you also going to have some years when you're down. And if you have your years when you're down due to injuries, then it's what it is. And so I look for the Rams to come back. But next week, we're going to go a deep dive into the Rams. But it's been some crazy injury news that's affecting some of the top teams in the leagues. And I just want to run through that real quick. The Buffalo Bills, Von Miller is out. They said he has a torn meniscus, and they have not said exactly what's going to happen with that. That's going to hurt that team on defense. Von Miller is their closer, so it's going to hurt the Cincinnati Bengals. Jamar Chase has been out. Cleveland Browns, you got Deshaun Watson coming back, but they're out of it. They're 4-7, so I don't see them making a lot of moves that way. The Kansas City Chiefs, Hilaire is out. But this kid Pacheco looks like he's going to do some good things. The Philadelphia Eagles lost one of their corners with a lacerated kidney. That can be a problem. They're going to be on the market trying to find somebody that they can bring in to fill out their defensive backfield. The Dallas Cowboys are trying to figure out if they're going to sign OBJ. I don't know what happened with OBJ on that plane in Miami. I just think it was bad timing, and you got to be better. You got to be better. I'm not judging. You just got to be better. You got to find a way not to be in that picture. You got to find a way. And if you're not familiar with what I'm talking about, he got taken off a plane in Miami because he wouldn't put his seatbelt on. Stories differ. All I know is, generally, when I get on the plane, I put my seatbelt on immediately. Then they ain't gonna have to say nothing to me. So, maybe he was tired, maybe he was asleep, maybe he had his AirPods in, maybe a whole bunch of things. Whatever it is, he ended up putting himself in this position. But the Dallas Cowboys going to still sign him because they're desperate. And then other teams, Tampa Bay. It's not an injury thing. It's just an old thing. And the 49ers, man, in the West look like they're going to run away with things, injuries. Aaron Rodgers was injured the other night. They're 4-8 right now. Looks like Jordan Love's show is about to happen. I don't think Aaron Rodgers should play another down for Green Bay, not this season. So, yeah. So you got linemen hollering at Russ over in Denver. That they paid him a lot of money. So next week, man, we're going to do a deep dive in the NFL about these teams as we round the corner to postseason. I want to give them some real love and see what's happening. Hey, before I get out of here, man, I got to talk about this college football because we getting in it. We getting in it tonight. We should get another. This is not the final college football playoff rankings. Last week, we know what it was. It was Georgia, Ohio State, Michigan, TCU, LSU, USC, Alabama, Clemson, Oregon, and Tennessee was the top 10 in the college football playoff rankings. But we know what happened. Michigan skull drug Ohio State. Now they're talking about firing Ryan Day down in Ohio State because they done lost to Michigan 2 years in a row. Man, they said the last time Michigan won in Ohio State, Jim Harbaugh was quarterback in the Indianapolis Colts, man. Come on, man. They said Stroud wasn't even born yet. Yeah, Day, you in trouble, bro. You in trouble. So, hey, look, the top four right now, and this is the AP because the college football playoff comes out tonight. Number one is Georgia. They got to play LSU in the SEC championship game in Atlanta. You got Michigan. They're playing Purdue in the Big Ten championship game. TCU, I think they're playing Kansas State in the Big 12, and then USC probably is playing Washington, I believe. I think they're playing Washington in their. They got to play number 14 Utah this week, so they're not done yet. They're not done yet. They got to play Utah. They got to win that Utah game. But USC looks nice, man. Caleb Williams, the quarterback for USC, formerly, that boy a year and a half ago was sitting on the bench for the Oklahoma Sooners, sitting behind Spencer Rattler. Spencer Rattler gets hurt. Williams comes in, balls out. Your boy Lincoln Riley gets the job at USC, takes Caleb Williams with him, and then Spencer Rattler ends up at South Carolina. I love college football, man. That's how it's supposed to be. These kids should be able to do whatever they want. They should be able to go where they want to go. Coaches move, they should be able to move. So, look, I don't see any of the top four changing. Even if Georgia loses to LSU in the SEC championship game, even if they use the LSU, they'll be 12-1. Who you putting in and taking Georgia out? Who you putting in? You're not putting Ohio State in. You're not putting Alabama 2 loss in, Tennessee 2 loss in, Clemson 2 loss in. So Georgia has a little cushion. If Georgia loses, especially if they lose a close one to LSU, they going to still finish in the top 4. Michigan just has to win out. They have to finish what they started. TCU, USC, all of them have to finish what they start. Here's the issue. USC loses, they ain't playing in nothing. They gone. USC loses, you're going to be pushing Ohio State or Alabama up back into the top 4. TCU loses, bye-bye. You're pushing Ohio State or Alabama up in the top 4. The only cats that ain't gonna lead at top 4 are Georgia and Michigan, regardless of what happens. Regardless of what happens, a 1-loss Georgia and a 1-loss Michigan will still play for the college football championship. TCU and USC, you don't have any space, especially USC. 2 losses, you gone. TCU, you lose in the Big 12. Man, ain't nobody trying to, especially the Kansas State. Yeah, no, bruh. Nobody wants to hear that. Nobody wants to see that. Nobody. Yeah, nope. Because right now, Kansas State is sitting at 7-2 in conference, 9-3 overall. You lose that game, it's a wrap. It's Rapsters. So yeah, so that's college football. So we're excited about this weekend because there's a lot of conference championship games. My team, the University of Missouri, shout out to them. They beat Arkansas this past weekend to get a bowl berth, 6-6. Shout out to Coach Drinkwitz. You did what you were supposed to do. You had some bad losses early in this season, especially that Auburn game that you had won. Oh my God. But you salvaged the season, 6-6. Hopefully you're playing a great bowl game, can keep those kids. Brady Cook is the real deal. Lovett is a nice receiver, but now he's going to the transfer portal. That's because he hears those footsteps of Luther Burden, because next year Luther Burden going to be a beast. He already killing. He going to be a beast from the University of Missouri next year. Hopefully Lovett decides to stay, because if they have Lovett and Burden next year, oh my God. Oh my God. They need a running back though. They need to do something about that running back position, but I'm sure that Coach Drinkwitz is already on the phone and already out there talking to folks, trying to get the right people for that backfield at the University of Missouri. Because you know at Mizzou, we always have some nice running backs. Listen, man, I could talk to y'all all day, but it's time for me to get up out of here. We talked about a lot on today. We're going to talk about a lot on next week. And next week, I got some big announcements about where we going in 2023. Boy, we getting ready to go, as my son said, we getting ready to go crazy in 2023 with this show, man. Let's get it with Alerica Anderson. We got some other content that we're creating. We just going to give the people what they need, what they want, y'all don't even know y'all need it. Y'all don't even know you want it. But we're going to give it to you, man, because we're just so glad to be able to spend some time with you and talk about sports, talk about some other stuff too, but we've been keeping the real sports real since we've been back, man, because there's been a lot going on, major stuff going on in the world of sports. So enjoy the rest of this week. Enjoy the great basketball that's coming up. College basketball is getting serious, man. In a couple of weeks, we're going to be in them conference games, and I ain't going to put nothing on my University of Missouri Tigers, but they doing, shout out to Coach Gates and the University of Missouri Tigers. I've been a Mizzou basketball fan forever. This is what you're supposed to do in the non-conference schedule. You're supposed to run it until you play somebody like Kansas, that I think they're going to play next week, the University of Illinois. You run it until then. That's what I'm talking about. Shout out to Coach Gates and those kids on the University of Missouri Tigers basketball team. Shout out to them. Keep doing what you're doing. Hey, man, we got to get out of here, though. We got to get out of here. Thank you for listening. You've been listening to Let's Get It with Alerica Anderson. We will be back next week, bigger and better, with more stuff for you. Keep praying, keep focused, stay cool, and everything will be all right. See you next week. Peace.